But the triumph of the week has been discovering how to desalinate salt cod. The fast way is to boil it in clean, cold water 3 times. So that you can
really, let's hope that we never come to a situation where that's our only option. I don't rule it out, mind you, the way the world's going, but let's hope.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Good morning.
Morning, caller. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We have just come back from Kalamata Airport after dropping off the sibling.
Yes, where's he gone?
Amsterdam. And then Paris. Then
okay, and he's coming back to you, is he, or what?
No, he's not, no.
Oh, that was it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, you got off lightly, I think.
More anon.
Yes.
More anon.
Yes.
He says, wanging a pen around. So how's your week been then?
Well, I think we should start by telling the listener that due to, weather patterns, I think, and road trips and stupid, we're recording this on Saturday, which is a first, isn't it?
It pretty much is, yes.
We normally do Wednesday or Thursday mornings at 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on a Saturday, and you've already been to the airport and back.
Yeah, absolutely, which is a hour each way, really. I drove there and Sarah drove back in our new car, my new red Roadster, which I've hired for the winter.
Ah, for the winter?
Yes, I am mobile, yes. I've given up the flight to walk more and drive less because it just makes it too difficult when it rains.
Yes, I decided that certain things were very difficult this morning, or too difficult this morning as well. It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, you try to do the right thing. You try to be a brave little soldier and you try to carry on with things that you know are good for you. But then eventually you just think, this is making my life miserable.
Absolutely, yes, and harder and slower. And, I can see it in the summer. Obviously, a trog down to the village and back's lovely. Harder in the winter, and you get more freedom and more choice, don't you, with a car? Yeah,
exactly. We've done, we've been off to more places in the last sort of 3 weeks than I've been in the whole last 6 months, really. So
yes, and you don't have to be specific in your answer here, but I hope, given that it's the winter, they cut you an extraordinary deal, didn't they?
Yes, very, very good deal. Yes,
good. So why don't you tell us about the rest of your week first, and then I'll tell you about mine.
Okay. Well, as you know, it was my birthday last weekend, and because we were visited with a medicane, which is a Mediterranean hurricane, we had to postpone the trip that Alex had booked for us, which was to go to Areopolis for the night and do, various sites on either side of that. And so we ended up just going down the village and having a lovely evening. And then it was a bit odd, really, because it ended up being that we were doing the road trip on Thursday, having the stay over on Thursday night and coming back on Friday to what could have been a really big party up the road. But Alex has been a bit reluctant to mingle. He says he felt, quite socially anxious at the whole thought of it. So we didn't go to that in the end. We just went to the beach and lay on the beach, which was perfectly nice and acceptable. And went to the Five Brothers last night, which is my favourite taverna, as you know. And so it was, but we had quite a tense time on that road trip because the second day the weather was bad. It wasn't, howling gale, pouring deluge or anything. It just wasn't sunny, which we're not used to here. So we did a few things, but they weren't as much fun as they would have been in the sunshine, put it that way. So we ended up coming home a bit early. The hotel was perfectly nice, except that I was put in a room where my window faced on to 3 other balconies. So, and the window was right by the bed. So I found if I lay on the bed to have a rest, as I did in the afternoon, no matter what arrangement I did with the curtains or the shutters or whatever, anyone walked onto their balconies could see me lying on the bed. And so I went downstairs and I said to the man, is there any chance you could, obviously, remember this is all has to be done through Google Translate and broken English stroke Greek. I said, can you change my room, please? And he said he didn't want to because he said I'd used it. I hadn't actually used it. All I'd done was lay on the bed and I'd plumped the cushion up myself and you couldn't see I'd been there. And he really got quite angry with me. He said, this is a big problem. This is a big problem. You're only here for one night anyway. And I thought, if I had the English, I'd say, don't take the bookings for one night if you resent it. You know, because our friend Elias, he always takes bookings for one night, and he says he does that because it's not him that has to change the beds, and he likes to keep his cleaners working. They need the money. Mm. So this guy was giving me a hard time because we'd only booked all of us for one night and we were using 3 rooms, and because I wanted to change, that meant a 4th room, except my room didn't actually need cleaning. It was fine, and he did put someone else in there, we discovered later. So then I went into he put the only room he said he had where I wasn't overlooked was a budget room, and my God, it was budget. The bed was rock hard, the pillow was like a brick. There was a strange electrical arrangement in the shower, which I haven't seen in Greece for many a year, which made me terrified to turn the water on. You can just imagine. But and then the wind got up, and there was this flappy plastic thing outside my window that just flapped and flapped all night. And it sounded like a guinea pig running around in its cage. It was just the most annoying noise. The bathroom obviously hadn't been cleaned very well when I went in there, and there was a smashed ashtray on the balcony, so I couldn't go out on the balcony because it was covered in glass. So I really wasn't very happy with any of this, but I was trying to put a brave face on it and be.
Was that better or worse, all told, than being in the other room with the overlooking?
Well, by that stage of the evening, it was the evening. The reason I wanted to move was because we had about 4 or 5 hours, in the room, or resting or doing whatever we wanted in between going out again.
Yeah,
and I wanted to be in a room where I could have daylight without.
I get it, but I'll stop. But what I think I'm understanding by what you're saying is that actually you would have been better off staying where you were.
Yes.
Bummer.
Comfort-wise, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I would, in order to stay where I was, I would have had to spend several hours in the room with the curtain shut or the shutters shut.
Yes.
Because I just wasn't getting any privacy at all by anyone who walked on the balcony.
Yeah, so a sort of strangely positioned hotel then.
Well, the bed should have been on a different wall, basically.
Yeah,
Nobody had actually lay on the bed and tried it out and realised.
You're just reminding me why I don't like hotels.
Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss hotels, isn't it? That's why
I don't like hotels. That's it.
I do if they're good.
I don't like B&Bs either. I feel like I'm creeping around somebody else's home.
Yeah.
I've only ever been in 2 hotels in the world, I think, that I actually like and would go back to.
I think it's not even about the hotel. I think it's about the room you get, and you have to be ready to change your room the minute you walk into your room.
Yes.
The problem is that if you walk into your room after a very long journey and you've dragged all your bags up yourself up the stairs,
yes,
then I hadn't on this occasion, I had a rucksack. But the point was I should have gone and laid on the bed immediately.
Yes.
You can go and test the facilities. That's what you should do.
Yes.
And you should immediately go down before you've even remotely relaxed or unpacked anything.
Yes.
And demand to change it then.
Yes.
That's the way to do it. But
I have a couple of friends and he never even unpacks the car until his princessy wife has decided that she will actually deign to stay in the hotel.
It's good for her.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Good for her. So we all didn't sleep very well. The atmosphere with the bloke on the front reception wasn't brilliant, but we went out for the evening and had a very pleasant evening. In the footsteps of Rick Stein, I think I finally found the restaurant that he ate goat in lemon sauce in Areopolis, because this has been a bit of a mission of mine to track down this, because the restaurant that they put on the Rick Stein website blog was something Petros. And there were 2 restaurants called something Petros that looked like they could have been the ones. But now I went back and I couldn't find. I mean, I ended up getting the email address of one young waiter to say, to be able to email him that with the telly program. It became a bit of a mission, Judith. I was obsessed with finding this restaurant, and then I think we finally found it, because the one that the Rick Stein blog says now doesn't even exist.
Mm.
So I think we tracked down the right one. And I did have goat in lemon sauce, and it was appropriately due.
Yeah, I have eaten goat, or kid rather, small, which is baby goat, in London, actually.
Yeah, and so I think it would have been worthy of Rick Stein's attention. And we had a bit of a laugh and went back. And the next morning we had one of those random hotel breakfasts, which you can only get in Greece, which is a mishmash of cold meats, fried eggs, hard-boiled eggs, hard bread, and rather nicely, tiny croissants and Nutella on this occasion.
This is sounding awful to me. I do have, remind me, I hadn't planned to tell it to you today, but I do have a small Rick Stein story to tell you myself later.
Oh, okay. Go, are you going to do that?
No, not. Well, okay. I could do. No, I'll tell you later.
Oh, right.
Keep going with your week.
And that was it, really. So we came back, spent the last night, dropped him off this morning, and he's gone off to Amsterdam, Paris, and then on tethers. But the triumph of the week has been discovering how to desalinate salt cod. The local supermarket has got lots of frozen fish, but it hasn't got any a fresh fish counter. But it has got a lot of salt cod that you can buy very cheap.
Yeah.
And so we looked up what to do with it, and it's basically you can either boil it in cold water 3 times and discard the water, and it's ready to use straight away then, or you can do over the next couple of days in the fridge 3 changes of water a day. Bit laborious, but you end up with a really lovely, juicy, plumped up bit of cod at the end of it, which we were both surprised by, which Alex used to make fish cakes, and which I shall use in future. To have some fish, because every time I bought some frozen fish, it hasn't turned out very nice. So, and I do like a bit of fish.
So salting is better than freezing as a way of preservation.
Yeah, I think so. So
I must say, I wouldn't give you a thank you for salt cod, but now that you've told me that all I've got to do is wash it 3 times, that could come in handy one day.
3 times a day for 3 days, ideally.
Yeah, I could tuck that away in the back of my brain, and one day I might be in a place in the world where all there is to eat is salt cod, and I think it's okay, I can buy some, because as long as I've got a fridge or cool environment, I can change the water for 3 days.
Or
I can eat it.
The fast way is to boil it in clean, cold water 3 times. So that you can
I mean, really, let's hope that we never come to a situation where that's our only option. I don't rule it out, mind you, the way the world's going, but let's hope.
It's been one of those things I've always wanted to try, and now I have, and it's good. So there you go. That's my week.
Okay, so strangely adventurous for you guys.
Yes. And yours?
Well, I'm coming to you today for the first of 2 shows from rainy Trowbridge in Wiltshire, Trowbridge being the county town of Wilts. And last Sunday from Somerset, I did a very long trip up to Bromley and Kendon back in the day to be interviewed by the couple who are going to winter in Argentina and wanted me to live in their house. And I thought it was the other way around. I thought I was going up there so they could have a look at me, but they thought they were showing me their house and that I would decide, which was quite funny. And it reminded me of something that Tricia Stone, a coach, taught me, 15 years ago, about being the chooser. Anyway, I came away from Bromley with their key and 6 months house sit from the 1st of November. But I don't know if you've read yesterday's newsletter, but it put me in mind of an extraordinary thing that first happened when I would go to an accountant. I would go to meet a complete stranger, and they would let me leave the meeting with their entire financial records, which in those days were all paper, files and bank statements and checkbooks and paying in books and invoices and receipts and login details for online banking. And I always used to think, they don't know me from Adam. I could stop at Chelsea Bridge and lob the whole lot into the river.
I know.
It's the same with house sitting. I turn up at somebody's house, and for 5 minutes they have a look at me, and then they give me their key, the key to their burglar alarm, care of their cat, and they disappear and entrust this absolute everything that's valuable in their lives, their home, their favourite pet, their possessions, they entrust to me. And I could be one of those children like you see in those cliche TV ads who the minute their parents leave town, they have this massive party and destroy the house. I think it's nothing short of amazing how trusting and naive people are.
Well, the thought of Judith home alone is a lot more reassuring to me than a lot of other people.
Than a teenager. I agree with you. But actually, the cat, who has been strangely obliging in terms of I have to do this thing where I have to disguise her every other day pill in a piece of cheese, she's been very obliging with that. But she hasn't come upstairs, this house is on 3 or 4 floors, so the kitchen's down in the basement and the living rooms are on the floor I'm speaking to you from now, and the bedrooms are upstairs. And the first day, and her parents are away, she slept on their bed, but she hasn't been up since, which is Wednesday to Saturday. And last night I couldn't even hear her, and she didn't reply when I called. I thought, oh God, I've killed the cat. So things can go wrong with this. I mean, I wouldn't have killed the cat might have died on my watch. So it's not without stress, house sitting, because there's this am I doing the bins right, and is the cat still alive stuff that goes on. Yeah,
I did read your newsletter, and I was particularly taken by your disaster planning.
It's most unlike me, but it suddenly made me realise that for the first time in my adult life, or in memorable adult life, presumably there have been circumstances in 10 or 20 or 30 years ago I've forgotten about, but it's like Well, what happens if something happens to me or something happens to them? What happens if somebody damages themselves on holiday and is brought home in an air ambulance? You know what I mean? There are variables in this, and there are in my normal life, but they just don't seem like it because I have total control and routines and systems, and I'm all over every detail there. Here, it's all really rather strange.
Yeah.
And actually, things are more likely to go wrong when you're in a strange environment.
Yes. And I thought that was very impressive, actually, that you'd had that conversation with them about...
Well, quite quickly, it dawned on me, hang on a minute, it started actually when I went to see that lady in London about 3 years in Putney. And it's like, well, you can't really say to anybody you'll do anything for 3 years because you've no idea what happened. Even 6 months, I think I can guarantee 2 weeks in Trowbridge, but honestly, you've no idea. You just don't know. So it's like, what happens if I say yes, and then for some reason or another I can't do it, or something happens to them? So we can only both parties meet this commitment if everything goes on in life as we expect it will.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's some sort of a checklist? I bet you're drawing...
No, I do have a checklist. I've got an interesting story to tell you on that in a minute, actually.
Okay.
But the checklist is quite short, really, because as I said to you last week or the week before, you can look up most of these things you need to know on their local websites for dustbins. For instance, I have a printer in the boot of my car that's been there for 6 months. I've decided to dispose of it. I can't dispose of it in Wiltshire because I need to prove an address, and I don't actually live in Wiltshire. I can, when I go back to Somerset, I can dispose of it there, but that's quite an interesting fact. If you didn't look that up and you went to the dump first and you got there and they wanted to see your ID and it didn't have your address on it, and you'd be very cross, wouldn't you?
Yes. I thought you needed the printer to print out the proof of your ID.
No. I want to get rid of it because I haven't used it in 6 months. And as a digital nomad, as you know, what we're doing all the time is reducing and reducing and reducing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm having the car serviced on Wednesday. And of course, when they service the car, they have to empty the boot so they can get at your spare tyre, or God knows what they're looking for in the boot. I don't know, but they look in the boot for something.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, now's as good a time as any. No, can't do it in Wiltshire. I have to do it in another county.
Yeah, printers are one of those things that are like gold dust out here as well.
But nobody really wants a printer here, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the point is they're only 30 blooming euros.
I know. I don't really. I've been digital filing since 2011. I try not to print anything. I have printed a few documents, both at where was I last week? I do carry with me a blue printer cable, and as long as where I'm going has a cable, I can lash my Surface Pro up to their printer and print things. But it's rare. I've probably only printed less than 10 sheets in 6 months. So I don't really need to print, to be honest. And I think the time's come for me to go, it's been in the boot of the car for 6 months. That can go, Judith.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know? I do use a printer quite frequently because I like, when I'm doing my accounts, for example, I like to print.
Yes, you've said that before, but I think you can change your habits. Some days I can't, because I can't print where I am, I've learned to do it all online, just multiple screens. No, it's just a changing of a habit. It's not nice. Changing habits isn't nice. It's like you feel cack-handed, but it is possible. And then the new habit becomes the new way.
Yeah. Well, that's what's fueled my fire this week, is return to an old habit, which is listening to audio. I had got rid of my favourite podcast app because it was, I don't think it reinstalled itself properly last time, and I just thought, it's taking up too much space anyway. Every time I need a new update on my iPhone, I have to delete it and then reinstall it because it just, for some reason, I can't work out how to make it take up less space. I only subscribe to about 5 podcasts, and I only keep the last one unlistened episode of those, but for some reason it just eats space and I don't know how to do it. Anyway, I've been without it for a few weeks and I've been trying to see if I can manage without it. But I've realised that I really quite enjoy listening to a podcast. So Alex was here and he's been I'll tell you some more about the whole thing here of having another human being here in a minute. But he listens to a lot of music, and what I found was that after a while, music starts to irritate me. I like it sometimes when I'm cooking, for example, but most of the time I prefer to listen to something that's educational or instructional or whatever, or to do with business. And I realised that I was missing my podcast, so I downloaded it again, and I've been happily listening to podcasts ever since.
And so, as somebody who works in the music industry and loves music, you've gone a bit talk radio, haven't you?
I have a little bit, yeah, which I never thought I would at all.
No, it's odd, isn't it? It's to do with getting older. Sorry, but it is.
I think it's to do with not wanting to waste time. And for some reason, unless I'm cooking and I want to get into a certain mood, music's connected to mood with me. So I have to be in the right mood, or I have to need, to be up and jolly and party orientated to listen to music. The rest of the time, I'd rather listen to something that's going to teach me something.
That's interesting. Of course, typically I'm exactly the opposite, which is I love music, but I never listen to any at home. I never listen to the radio at home, apart from our podcast and Desert Island Discs and something else. Never listen to anything at home. Oh, I know, 6:30 on the Friday night, the news quiz. But when I get in the car, 50% of the time, not all the time, because I like peace and quiet in the car, but 50% of the time I put on the music and I think, and I flirt between about 3 or 4 channels, trying to get the less talky between the music, depending on what shows on what station when I'm traveling, and it's so uplifting. I think, oh, why don't I do this more often?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like the problem with the car is, even the new car I've rented, it's got a thing where you should be able to plug in your iPhone.
Yes.
And you can charge it up in there, but it's not connecting to the radio, so I can't listen to my own music unless I put it on a USB stick.
Well, interestingly, I'm going to get all my music is also on my iPad, and I use my iPad for my sat nav, and I'm going to get a thing that goes on the dashboard that dash mounts my iPad, and so I'll be able to do all sorts of things on there, because my car is too old-fashioned to do any of those things that you're describing. Now, there was something I wanted to tell you. Oh, yes. Now, where I find my tunes from these days is from the soundtracks of television programs that I watch. I found an absolutely banging tune yesterday from a person called, let's see if you've heard of this person. I don't think you have. I think I'm going to be more up to date on this than you are. Hold, caller, scrolling through yesterday's output on Facebook to find the person. It was in this week's episode of Grey's Anatomy, where they do very good tunes, it would have to be said. And it's by somebody called, well, the song's called High Low, I can remember that. And here we go. The artiste is called Bishop Briggs. Looks like a woman.
No,
you heard of Bishop Briggs?
No.
Oh, there you go. Banging tunes from telly.
Would my two like it?
Your children?
Is it soul, house, dance?
I can't genreize music. As I said to a boyfriend once in 1980 something, what sort of music do you like? And he said, I like good music. Me too. I'm not a genre person.
Oh, right.
If it's good, I like it. And actually, I wouldn't know how to answer that question you just asked me, to be honest. I don't really know what those ones are.
We came up with a good one the other day. Pirate Greek.
What does that mean?
Well, we were listening to something, and
it's broadcast from a ship on the Greek seas somewhere.
No. You're thinking of Radio Caroline, aren't you?
Well, pirate radio, yes.
Yeah. No, we were listening to one of, because we could only get Greek radio. So what Alex was doing was interpreting the songs he was hearing into English. And
okay.
Some of them were mighty amusing, but there was one that sounded like the singer was a pirate, and it was just hilarious.
Like ooh-er, you mean?
Yeah,
ooh-er gym lad
kind of thing. So Greek pirate, never been done before. What's fueled your fire then?
Well, I'm not sure that it's fueled my fire, but I thought it was worth telling you about, and it's something I've learned from the house sitting, and it made me realise what a weirdo I am. I mean, I knew I was a weirdo, but I'm going to tell you 6 things that happened when I went to Bromley. They're leaving me their Oyster card so that I can go on buses and trains.
Whoa.
No, thank you. I never use public transport.
No.
They showed me how to use their television and proudly announced it had Netflix. Not only do I not understand how televisions work, because I haven't had one since 1997, but I have Netflix on all my gadgets and I'm fully mobile and set up to be self-sufficient. And who knows, please, who knows, anybody listening to this show that knows what all the buttons do on a remote control device, please, let me know. I can't make televisions work in other people's houses. I don't understand the remote control devices. So it's like, oh, look, television and Netflix, thanks, got it, bringing it with me. Number 3, I'd be better off working upstairs in the office so that my internet connection can be wired. No thanks, not only am I Wi-Fi, but neither of my portable gadgets is a hole big enough to put the wired thing in. 4, there are corner shops and a local Tesco. No thanks, Ocado deliver once a week. And restaurants, pizza, pasta and Indian. No thanks, I'm 100% low carb and I can't eat any of those foods. Number 6, there are lovely parks at the end of the road. Their street is actually named after one of them. No thanks, what with my dodgy knees, I can't walk for pleasure, only with pain. See buses and trains above. I realised that I should have smiled and said thank you to all 6 or 7 of them. You know, their points of difference. And it made them feel, I imagine, like I was rejecting all of their lovely social overtures. And it made me feel oddly contrary. And I've never really mastered the art, and my sister-in-law pointed this out to me, I've never really mastered the art of being kind. Honesty is my number one value. And when I came away, I thought, you should have just shut your mouth when they were offering you those 6 things and smiled and like a nice girl and said, thanks. I felt like I'd rebuffed all of their kind offers, you know. And I teach my clients not to worry about being too nice, but I slightly erred too much in the other direction last weekend. I realised when I was coming away. And also then you can't really explain why you're so weird, why you don't walk around parks, why you don't go on public transport. It's just easier not to.
Yes. It hasn't ruined the relationship or anything?
No, it hasn't. But people like to give you things. And I'm so self-sufficient, I don't want any of their things. But I need to learn not to be that direct. I need to say, oh, lovely, thanks very much, and
There's
move
a good
on.
word, isn't there? Dissemble.
Well, yeah, just pretend, I think. I'm not very good at pretending. One of the lovely things, it's like their sales points, one of the lovely things of living here is that you can just walk to the corner shop and out to a local restaurant. Oh, I don't want any of those things, thanks very much. I don't want to have to explain. And, you know, when I see the look in their eyes, it's a mixture of disappointment and confusion. And I shouldn't have done it. I've just learned now that just be a nicer girl. Just go, oh, lovely, thanks, and move on. But it was quite good learning. It's about, you know, how to handle other people. And
we've had a lot of that this week.
you what? We both had a lot of that, did you say? Yes. Well, you're going to tell me more about that, I think, perhaps in another section.
Yes,
right?
I am, yes.
Should we do Focus of the Week?
Yes, go on then.
I'm going to make this anonymous, so try not to let slip that we know who it is, although anybody in our group will know who it is. But somebody accidentally sent us a focus which says, I've begun to notice that the majority of ads that get presented to me on YouTube are people talking all about how crap their life was, how they woke up after watching an ad just like this one, and now have a life of financial and time freedom. And I was so happy in X, Y, and Z with bells on. And if you sign up for our 7-part video series by named mentor, you too can feel as amazing as I do right now, or words like that. And this is their question. So what I'm wanting your opinion on, please. And neither of us answered this point, interestingly. We hoved in with our opinions, but we didn't answer the question. What is behind this? Is it simply affiliate marketing where they get paid for each sign up or follow-up sale? The one I've just watched is for 6-figure mentors, but I have come across other names. What I've also noticed is that they all have the same format for the landing page with 3 testimonials saying how great the info is and how it's changed their life. Do they do this for each other, or am I being a total skeptic who needs to get out more? You go first. It's more your expertise than mine.
Okay. First of all, if anyone's interested in 6-figure mentors, just do a search for Nicola Cairncross 6-figure mentors. I've done an extensive independent review saying what I think are the good points and what I think are the bad points, not so good. It's a multi-level marketing company, and I missed that 6-figure mentors reference completely. So it's a multi-level marketing company who sell people internet marketing tools. So
try not to get hung up on this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
It's the question she's asking us.
Yeah, but coming back to the way it's sold, the way it's sold is the way everything's sold, and the way everything is sold like that. With, you know, it's a hero's journey story. We love stories as humans. We love hero's journey stories. We love the thought that one day we might turn into a hero, and the fact that it might be an ad that turns you around and moves you and sets. It's called the inciting instant. If you study storytelling as I do now, the hero's journey starts with ordinary life and everyone trudging along. And if you think of Lord of the Rings, you'll see that this fits into it completely. So, and then something happens, an inciting instant happens. Someone's life they're woken up, they're changed, they see reality, and then they are invited to take part in an adventure, a quest. And then they go on this quest and it gets difficult and they get challenged, and then a mentor shows up and shows them what to do. And it's only by following the mentor or using the tools the mentor shares with you that you overcome your challenges, and then you have there's a final thing where you make the decision to carry on. So you have a final big challenge, and you have to commit to your story it's a moral choice a lot of the time. And then you overcome the adversity that you've been facing and you succeed. And that hero's journey story has been so ingrained in our culture for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years even, that we all respond to it whether we like it or not. And most stories and most films follow a loose version of that story. So that's why people use that in their marketing, because people only use what works in marketing, and it works because everyone's got an aspiring hero inside them. Everybody wants to escape their day-to-day humdrum life. And then as for the layout of the pages, again, these things are tested within an inch of everything. They use those layouts because they work. They've been tested against other layouts and they work better. Now, here's the interesting thing. All of that sounds really cynical and really cold and calculating. But the thing is, if you've got something fantastic, which you genuinely believe is going to help people's lives, I believe it's your responsibility to sell it as well as you possibly can. Because unless people opt in, you can't follow up with them. Unless people buy your thing, you can't help them. Unless people join your mentoring program, they're not going to do the work. Because buying the thing itself, the training course, whatever it is not good enough. Most people buy that thing and they get the satisfaction from just the buying, and then they don't do the doing. And with a mentor, you're much more likely to do the doing because you've got a question, you could get it answered. So although I started out this opinion sounding cynical and jaded, I actually am on the side of the people who are using these marketing techniques, as long as they've got a product that genuinely helps people.
Okay, so you've answered the question like the principal, which is the person who invented the original thing. But what our questioner is asking, she's seeing multiple ads for similar things, and she's asking what's the business model for other versions of it. So it's a bit like when What's Her Name every February does B School and everybody and their dog sells it. So she's saying, what I'm wanting your opinion on, please, is what's behind this. Is it simply affiliate marketing? So it's not your original model, which you've just explained. It's the iterations. And what her objection is that people are getting paid commissions. Not objection. She thinks people are getting paid commissions and making money from that, and they've not made anything in their own right. Not the originator, but the people who are selling this person's product, the affiliates who might be affiliates or might not.
The thing is, in order to become an affiliate of most products, you have to have bought it. A lot of the time, you can become an affiliate without having bought it, but you won't know whether you should be recommending it or not. So there are unscrupulous people out there who will become an affiliate of a product if people will allow them to, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people insist that you've bought their product first. And then you follow the most effective marketing way of promoting it. And yes, you do get paid 50%.
Which they give you a pro forma for, I'm guessing.
What do you mean?
If you're an affiliate, they give you the pro forma. What she's seeing is the same thing over and over again with different iterations. So so it's a bit like if I became an affiliate of yours, let's say, you wouldn't do this because your operating system's like, if I became an affiliate of Frank Kern, he would give me all the marketing materials and I just have to put them out.
Yes, you would, but you would be encouraged to turn them into your own story. You would be encouraged to use the template. But
that's not what our questioner is seeing. She's seeing the template and she's seeing the formula and she's wondering about the business model, not of the originator, the creator of the product, but why is she seeing? She's saying repeat ads in the same formula.
I don't think she is. I think she's seeing a lot of people using this hero's journey format because it is so ubiquitous now, because it works. I don't think she's seeing lots of affiliates for the same people. Unless
that's not what she's saying. What I'm wanting her opinion, what's behind this? Is it simply affiliate marketing where they get paid for each sign up or follow up sale?
They usually get paid per sale, not per sign up. What's wrong with that, though?
Are you asking me?
Well, I'm asking as devil's advocate. I'm asking you
I've only got one answer to this question, and I put it on the page, which is all energy directed at resisting somebody else's marketing is a complete waste of time. Just because somebody else does it like that, we don't even need to understand it. Just click away, get on and market your own stuff. It's all wasted energy. We used to do it 10 years ago with sales letters. I don't like these American sales letters. They're far too long, but we all bought from them.
Yes, and we all tested them.
Yeah, but
and
the point is, stop it. Stop getting hung up on. My clients do this. Get hung up on, and actually one wonderful woman said, I really don't like the way this has been marketed to me, but I've bought it anyway. We're strange when it comes to buying things, but I think all energy spent moaning, and not that this was a moaner, this was a general question, but my clients moan about, I hate marketing like that. Well, you don't have to do it like that. Stop spending your energy looking at what other people are doing that you don't like, and just use that energy instead on creating your own ways of telling the world about your thing.
Well, yes, and the most interesting thing that came out of the conversation was that, this person is so repulsed by the marketing she's seeing that she's not now marketing her own thing.
Yes, that's my point. It's wasted. You get hung up on the wrong aspect. Look in the other direction, 180 degrees. Go forward. Yeah.
How do I like to buy? You ask them a great question, don't you? You say something along the lines of,
yes, that is, you buy. How do you buy? How do you buy? Then sell like that, because then you're speaking to people like you.
But be aware that if you market in the way that you enjoyed being marketed to, that you may well be leaving money on the table and not helping as many people.
Yes, you see, I'm not bothered about leaving money on the table or not helping as many people as I could, because I'm not selling a product. If I were selling a product, I might be. I know I can only help so many people. So I suppose it depends what you're selling. And actually, I'm going to contradict myself later in the last section, who or what's impressed. I've got an example of somebody marketing in a way that she's uncomfortable with, but it's working. I think, we will never, this has raged ever since I've known you, but people resisting marketing, but buying from it, because we all know what we're supposed to do when we see that, and there's something in us that can't stop us pressing the button.
Put your name and email in.
Yes, well, I don't put my name and email in, but I press the button. I did buy something for this week. This week I spent, it gave me a choice of how much to buy it for, and I paid $10. And then when it came, it started to come, it's 10 daily videos, which are half an hour long. Well, that's not my format, isn't it? I've only spent $10. So I've bought something, not even going to use it, because I knew what I was supposed to do when I saw the buy now button, and I quite liked I liked the concept of what was being sold to me, and it was only $10, so I don't have to use it, and I found a better way since then. But
so you're not going to ask for your $10 back then?
No. So because the product's worth $10, it's actually worth a lot more than that.
Yes, but you're not. But you're not one of those people who thinks you're going to ask for a refund.
No. It cost me more than $10 to claim $10 back.
So you're not one of these people that I occasionally get where they buy something and then 3 years later they come back and ask for a refund.
Well, I'm someone in between. So this lady that said to me, and in fact she said to us in one of my groups, I don't like the way this is being sold, but I'm going to buy it anyway. Any thoughts before I do? Yes, 2 thoughts. 1, do you like learning in that format and know that once you've committed for that price, you will do the work and get value for money? 2, what's the terms of the money back guarantee? How long have you got? If you cough up, diarise and use it in that time and it isn't what it's purported to be, get your money back. That's the only 2 things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you do within, everybody has to offer a 30-day guarantee.
Yeah, it was 30 days in this. Yeah.
And most people offer an unconditional 30-day guarantee.
Yes.
I've stopped doing that now because I'm sick to death of people buying something, not using it for months on end, and then coming back and asking for a refund. So what I say now is it's an action taker's guarantee. If you buy the thing, if you invest in it, if you turn up at least twice during the month, and you ask me at least 2 questions during the month, and I can see that you've logged in at least twice during the month, and then at the end of 30 days you think it's not what you can use, then I will happily refund your money. But you have to bloody turn up, because I had someone turn up, after about a year and ask for a refund, and I just thought, this is just ridiculous. I've been there that whole year waiting for her. In fact, I've sent several emails encouraging her to turn up and do the thing, and now you've decided you don't want to do the thing after all this time. No refund, sorry.
Well, I'm in 2 minds about this, because I have clients who pay for a year's membership and then don't turn up enough or at all in some occasions. And I sometimes think I need to give that person a nudge. Well, often I do nudge them. I need to give that person a nudge. And then I don't always nudge them at the time I have that thought. And then sometimes they turn up and I say, look, come more. And they either do or they don't. And there's learning in this. It depends on which group it is. Once they've made the decision, if it's for coaching with me, I hold the credit and they can draw it down at whatever interval they like. If we go years later and they haven't used it for whatever reason, I would write it off. I wouldn't refund it because, they don't ask for refund because they know they didn't turn up. But I've taken 15 plus years to acclimatize to that on my business coaching. It's difficult now. I'm only a few months into the low carb coaching, and it's much more complex, or even more complex, the low carb, because there are a gazillion reasons, different reasons why they can't commit to that, having paid for it. And of course, I haven't charged very much money yet. I've only charged, somewhere between 90 and 750. And 2 out of the 3 completed the 750, and 1 I owe a month to. And she knows she's got a month in credit, but she's not setting up. And I would say way less than half of the people who've paid the small amount of money are actually putting into practice the principles and doing what's required. And those, let's say the top third of both classes, fantastic results. Everybody else not. And I sort of wring my hands a bit and think, I'm learning a lot about they've got to be ready. And what does ready mean? Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. If you bought a product, so for instance, this morning a courier's delivered a product. If it's not what I've ordered, it can go back, because if it doesn't, it's actually a gift a flat warming gift for my niece. But if I don't like it, or she doesn't like it, or it's broken, or it didn't arrive in time, there's lots of reasons why a product can go back. I think a service is a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. And a service that I've been actually actively providing for the last year to other people who actually show up.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going back to the Zane's marketing. So she's really she's got a fantastic product that would help a lot of people in a very specific niche, and by not marketing it, she's doing those people a disservice, as well as herself, because she's
she said that, didn't she? She said, I've realised there's more learning in this for me about me.
Which is great, because she's very self-aware. And that's
absolutely. Yeah.
So, but she needs to do what you tell your clients to do, which is find a way to market your business that makes you feel in integrity, not yucky.
Absolutely.
And, and the other thing is that hero's journey format is, if you look it up online, I find it really helpful when telling any story to follow the rough hero's journey layout, because people respond to it. Even if you're doing a 3-minute video on Facebook Live, that is a great format to follow.
I also think if I was selling something like the lady we're talking about is selling, some marketing techniques are not inappropriate. Some formulaic marketing techniques are not inappropriate, because she is selling a product. She's trying to get people to an emotional place where they want to press that button.
Yes. And in order to do that, she has to help them.
Well, she has to believe in her product, which I think she does. And you and I both know that she's a top bird. So she's presumably created something of value. She's got to believe in it enough. As I always say to you, isn't it? If you're on fire with it, don't keep quiet about it.
Yes.
If you've got any doubts about it for whatever reason, explore them, bust them, or get the product to the place where you are on fire with it, and then shout from the rooftops.
Yes. And then the other thing is, of course, then you have to start split testing your pricing. I think I've now found the ceiling on my pricing, because not so many people are buying at the higher price. And, I've been edging it up, and people still bought, and now I think I've reached the ceiling. So now I've got to go back and change it. And there is one person, I think, who bought at the higher price. So I'll be going and saying to her, I've decided to lower my price going forward. So here's your link to sign up at the lower price. Because that's, you've got to be in integrity, haven't you? You've got to.
Yes, which may or may not be. That might be integrity for you. It might not be for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't feel very comfortable if I knew that I was now selling it at a lower price and she's paying.
I always think that a client can come to you and say, I've noticed you're selling it at a lower price.
I would feel bad if that happened.
Yeah, but you're a bit weird about things like this sometimes.
Why am I weird?
Well, it's interestingly because I have a mortgage. Not a first mortgage, it's a second mortgage, where you remember my first buy-to-let, it was 100% funded, and somebody lent me the money between the mortgage I could get and the deposit and the legal fees and everything. And recently, well, first of all, that guy sold on the mortgage portfolio at some point, which is quite normal. And several years after that, they stopped charging me interest. And the other day we were having a correspondence, and I said to them, whilst we're talking, why did you stop charging people interest? Well, because we had to let so many of the widgers off because they couldn't afford it, that we thought we'd make it universal across the portfolio. I'm not sure I believe them because it's finance, but it's an interesting thought.
I would just feel I wouldn't, you said about your value being honesty. So it's one of mine too. I could not I couldn't even, every time that money came into my account, I'd feel bad.
Yes, I don't think it's dishonest, actually, because the offer was worth that. It happens many times, doesn't it, in real life when, I always pay full price for everything because I'm a bit of a weirdo. And I never think if I see it somewhere else cheaper later, like John Lewis never knowingly undersold. I never think, I don't go hunting bargains. And if I saw it was cheaper in a sale, I wouldn't think, oh, damn, should have waited a fortnight. I've got what I want at a price I was prepared to pay for it.
Interesting.
It's about value to me. If I was prepared to pay full price for it, it's worth that to me. However, when clients ask me the same question, what do you think? I'm launching the similar thing at a smaller price. I go, well, either you got a special arrangement for people, or so for instance, if I bring on something new, I always usually say, if you're an existing client and you think or you consider you're missing out here in some way or another, just contact me privately and we'll sort it out. So the point is formulaic marketing. Either learn what's to be learned from the way that works, and if you can borrow some of the bits and make it work, adapt it, but don't get hung up on it. That's my core message, really.
It's social injustice, isn't
it? Don't waste any energy on it.
Yeah.
Don't give it energy.
Okay, what's your word of the week then?
It's trust. Back to my story about people giving me their valuables.
Yes. Mine is relax, because it's the last visitor of the season.
Yes. And exhale.
I'm going to do things very differently next summer.
Oh, are you? What are you going to do?
Oh, I'm going to have a little list of guidelines for myself, because there won't be anyone staying in the house. They will be down the village so that they are not in a position to wait around for me to finish my work so that we can go down the village together.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, just drives me crazy.
Also, probably better for them to be down the village as well, because they can at least be in the sea or having a drink or watching the sea or chatting. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've just done my accounts for the last 3 months, and it's made me realise how much more it costs me.
Yes.
People here who
intangible lost hours. Yeah, I can imagine.
So there you go. But anyway, I feel very relaxed now. Sarah and I are off down the beach to lie on a sunbed and not talk to each other for several hours.
Yeah, lovely. Have you got a sunny day today?
Yes, it's glorious.
Yeah,
which is marvellous. Okay, project updates then.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I've got quite a few actually. Well, not very lengthy ones. My book has now had 7 reviews on yourwriteon.com. Mm-hmm. This is where you read and critique other people's work in return for a randomly assigned critique of your own work.
I remember, yeah.
And you get to 7, and at the end of they amalgamate your scores, and at the end of the month, if it's a competition month, then you get standard chance of going into the top 10 authors, or if your scores are good enough. And nobody knows what obviously everyone else's scores are, so it's a bit of a lottery. But at the end of that month, if it's still in one of the competition months, then either someone from Random Press or Orion Press review. If you're in the top 3, they give you an extensive review of your work, and if you're in the top 10 but not in the top 3, you get a sort of short summary kind of review. And several people have got deals from this, so I finally got to the point of having 7 reviews. I think you need to have X number of reviews credits in the bag to be entered into this competition thing, so I need to go and check that one out. I'm not good with the small print, but I'm ploughing on with this one. And I've put everything through what do we call it? The Hemingway app. Yep. So I now have no adverbs. I have no passive voice instance or very...
Well, you don't want no adverbs. You just don't want to overuse them. There's nothing wrong with an adverb if it adds...
and the Hemingway thing does tell you an acceptable number of adverbs.
Okay, great. But you've got no excess ones, or you've got rid of... If you've got to get rid of them all, it'll be quite dry.
Well, I have got rid of them all, because what I want to do now is go back and put in descriptive passages. And so that's my next challenge, is to learn how to write a fantastic descriptive passage with a minimum number of adverbs. Jane, we're just about to launch her podcast. She's chosen the music. She's found some royalty-free Hawaiian music, so we're about to get her podcast on the go, which will be good. With Pete, we've got to the point where, interesting, you mentioned about affiliate links earlier on. I've got the affiliate link set up for Pete and my product so that I can send an email to my list using my affiliate link, and we can track whether it converts to opt-ins and sales. That's a good way of, because although obviously I'm not going to be paying myself a commission because I get, I'm a joint venture partner with him. It's a good way of tracking conversions if you're going to send to a mailing list of someone else, that's different. And my own thing, and we've also just worked out that we're going to pay 100% of commissions on the first sale, and then nobody really expects to get recurring commissions, so we're going to pay 10% of recurring commissions just as a goodwill gesture and to be ahead of the pack, as it were. But also it means that I can now offer my members an affiliate commission link, so they can actually recommend me through an affiliate commission link. I've got to work out what I'm willing to give away on recurring billing for my membership site.
Okay.
And what about yourself?
After August treats and September good things, I decided after listening to Richard last week that my October daily thing would be called Delights, because you remember last week was about surprise and delight.
Yeah.
But actually that's not what I want to talk about in here. We're on episode 198 out of 200, and you found some solution of SpeakPipe on nicolacairncross.com. Let's talk about what we want the contributors to do there. Just talk us through that. I don't know whether you've listened to see if anybody's left a contribution yet, have you?
I get an email, so the answer is no.
No, okay.
I've set up SpeakPipe. I upgraded my SpeakPipe, and I've put it on my contact page on my website, nicolacairncross.com/contact. And there, in the bottom left-hand corner, or by using the link on the page, you can record us a little message. And this is to celebrate our 200th anniversary. So if you enjoy the podcast, we would love to hear from you. What kind of things can they leave, Judith?
Anything they like, really. But what we'd like to do is put them on the show, like you hear on request shows on the radio. So, I'd love them to say, what they like about the podcast, what their favourite episode was, if they can remember, what's the best nugget they've learned, do they tune in every week?
We don't expect all of that, by the way.
No, we don't. No, I'm just brainstorming ideas. Anything you want to tell us, really. A bit like it was a request show on the radio.
Yeah, and always start with your name, and if you want to publicise your URL, put that in as well.
Indeed.
Do it slowly so we can understand it, and then just tell us what you love about the podcast, and we would so love to hear from you, because it's quite
it's lonely out here. It's isolating out here.
It's lonely out here, exactly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We don't know who's listening, but we know who you are.
And also, if they phone and they make a boo-boo of it, they just phone back and leave another one, and you'll be able to weed out the...
Yeah. It's not actually a phone thing even. You can do it on your computer.
Yeah.
And basically, it just it allows the microphone to access your microphone for a minute, and you just speak into your computer. But if you do stuff up and you don't want us to use that one, then just say, I've stuffed up, don't use this one, I'm going to try again.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
Yeah, and that'd be good.
All right.
And we'd love to hear from you. Love to.
We would. We'd like to make the 200 show, or the focus bit, all about little contributions from the listener, ideally.
Yeah, that'd be great. Mm. And also to tell us what else you'd like us to do. Is there anything that we're not doing that we could be doing? Is there a section you'd like us to cover that we're not covering? Or have you got a focus of the week you'd like us to tackle?
Yeah, or new ideas for the next 200, if, dear God, the two of us have got that mileage in us.
Okay, so we've done 200. What do we think our recurring focus is going to be? Are we going to go to the next 20 or the next...
I have no idea. Too early to tell.
Okay, all right. Who or what's impressed then?
Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients I'd like to tell you about anonymously. And I'd like to make this point. I'd like to say, because you know who the first person is, I don't want you to say her name out loud. I want to give shout outs, a bit like we've just asked for our listeners to do for our 200 show. I'm going to give out 6 shout outs to clients, and they're anonymous, Nicola. Okay. Yeah, so don't go, oh yes, I know who you're talking about. It's Mary. I don't want that. Okay. So the first one, who's been working with you, and this is relevant because it goes back to the marketing focus thing that we had. She's made her first video and spent £70 in Facebook ads at your prescribed £5 a day, and it turned into 2 paying clients. It's her first video.
Brilliant.
It's her first video. She said she was very nervous. I asked her to rate herself out of 10. She said 2. And we both know it will all improve from there because that's just her first video. I've seen that video now. I thought it was great. I told her she's braver than me. I would never do that. So that's my first shout out.
A, could you contact her and whoever it is and say, Nicola would love a testimonial, just saying that?
Well, I'm sure she listens. I'm sure she, you're working with her. So, and she'll tell you this. She'll tell you this.
It could be anyone. I have
no. It'll come to you. Don't worry. Don't be so scarce. It'll come.
I'm not being scarce. And the other thing is, what kind of return on investment has she got? I know you can't.
I can't tell you. You're going to have to deal with afterwards. I'll tell you who it is, and you can deal with her direct. Okay.
Right.
You're getting in the way of my flow.
Sorry.
Now, my second one is somebody I told you about last week, who I challenged accidentally to step it up a bit. She's gone completely gung ho for that. She surprised me with a couple of times this week too. Now, I'm hoping. I think majority of these people, bar 1 or 2, are actually listeners. So I want them to recognise themselves in my shout outs for them. One of my clients who I've been working with for a long time has got a big birthday this week, tomorrow in fact, and we're working together in our 4th year, and we did a review. I didn't really understand where she was going with this. She wanted to review, because her birthday is one with a naught on the end, she wanted to review her preceding decade. And she, as part of that, she felt moved to tell me in words precisely how I had contributed to her previous decade and what had changed for the better and what bits of that were down to me. Now, I thought that was terribly brave and important to say things like that to people, especially when all the focus in coaching is normally reversed, me to her, not vice versa. I'm not asking for it. It's not even my due, but she surprised and delighted me. There's Richard's quote again from last week. So because she is a wordy person and a wordsmith, it's something I do. It's something that not many people do. It's very brave to say to somebody else how important you've been to me and this is what you mean in my life. So bravery is that one there. Another person that we both know interviewed another in her profession and made a fabulous video of it at 40 minutes long, content for her own membership club. She shared it with me in Club 100, a short snippet, and everything was just as you expect. Thoroughly good job, well done, and executed with lots of learning about topping, tailing, adding music, editing, so that next time will be easier, faster, more efficient, a really professional job. 2 writer clients really taking themselves and their writing seriously for the first time. One of them has got time off work, and both of them have made it their daily focus to the exclusion of all else. Well, I think that's brilliant. And finally, one of my clients who gets 60 minutes a month, we split it into 2 times 30-minute sessions. We have an agenda. We're fast and efficient, and she's really getting to grips with lots of things she's struggled with for a few years. We've got a system as between us 2 now, which really works, and it's taken me an unusually long time to work out how to get the best out of her, because she isn't normal. She is at a stage of her life where she has hormonal swings, and so now on the morning of her appointment I say, is today a good day? Yes, today's a good day, we do it. If it's not, we reschedule it for later in the week. And if I'd only understood that much earlier, or she had, we could have got to this place. So I just wanted to applaud clients for being brave, stepping up, getting what they wanted, saying the right things, demonstrating professionalism, taking themselves seriously, and asking for what they want.
And being tenacious in that last case of
yes,
giving up.
Absolutely, yeah,
good. Well, yeah. I'm going to end on a narcissistic note.
Okay.
Because I think Sarah and I have impressed me this week. It's not a natural thing to throw 3 grown adults who usually spend a lot of time on their own each, in their own environment, into a small house, a 2-bedroom house with 3 adults. It's been, especially when 2 of the adults don't know the other person very well and the other person doesn't know them very well.
Yeah.
It has been a week of joys and challenges, and a lot more challenges than we anticipated. But Sarah and I particularly have impressed me, because we've kept talking, we've confronted issues. We know, how hard it is for us to confront anything.
Yes.
And we've held our boundaries. So Sarah has certain boundaries about how she likes to eat and drink, and they've been confronted over and over again in the last couple of weeks, and she's been very calm and firm and centered.
Assertive.
Yeah, and assertive, exactly, yes. And it's been an interesting experience. So I'm very impressed with her. I'm impressed with me because I've even let them in the first place.
Yeah. And you didn't have any kind of boiling over moments like you did in the summer when they were swearing?
Yeah, absolutely loads. Yes, about in the 3 weeks, I think we had about lots of little ones and 3 big ones. But we've got through it, and we packed them up on the plane today, and we're all still
mates. So look, it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible. And it was very interesting about the whole talking about things, because this isn't something that happened in our childhood at all. So I'm very proud of all 3 of us, actually, that we've all sat down and been able to confront.
And is your brother a natural at that? Is he good at that, better than you two, and so has been helpful in it, or not?
He's very good on it in his working life, but I would say that he's not so good at it necessarily in his private life. But he responded in kind. So when we got to the point of saying, look, we need to talk about this, he was ready to sit down.
So he was respectful.
Yeah,
perfect. You can't ask for anything more, actually.
No. But it was an interesting exercise, the 3 of us being thrown together in a small house.
I bet.
Good stuff. Okay, all grown ups. Moving forward.
All right. So I won't say I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Thursday.
Okay.
All right then. Okay. Bye.
How do they do it? Not a care and suffering. Wanna step into their world. Who holds
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.